Test. Right, let's sorry, just getting things sorted here. Right, okay, so this is a do-over, kind of the previous thing I did last September, where I tried to build an app purely with AI. Obviously, I didn't bang my head against a wall too much because I survived, I'm here. But it ended up being more of a kind of app and lots of playwright testing. The playwright stuff worked great. But now, what are we, 6 months on? AI has moved forwards quite a bit more, and we now have a lot more, what should we say, accurate agentic programming. So what I've done, I've set up a brand new repository in GitHub. So what we're going to do, so I've got it open already here. I've called it hobbies because just going over it, it's about hobbies. But just for the fun thing, I'm going to make it like bee themed. So it'll be yellow, black, like that kind of thing. So what we're going to do at the moment, I'm logged in and I've got Claude Sonnet 4.5 here. Now, what we've got down here, we have agent, where it would actually do the coding. We have ask, where you'd ask questions, which is pretty much what we was doing, or what I was doing last time. And now we have this plan. So with plan, you build up a document of what you want. So it's almost like a whole plan that then the agent can go off of and build the software. So we're going to begin with plan mode, and we'll leave it as Claude Sonnet. Can we stretch that up? No, okay. Right, let's start with, we'll throw a new file in there and we call it plan.md. So for today, what I'm planning, and I don't know, like this might actually like rocket forwards and we have a whole app at the end of maybe a couple of hours, an hour or two. So let's see what we can do. Let's get hobbies application plan. Hobbies is a web application. And let's just do this. Technologies used. Let's do one. I want it to be in fast API. Two. Database backend, either Postgres or Mongo. Now I know Postgres, but I don't have a lot of experience with Mongo. I knew of it, what, 9 years ago? But I know it's like a NoSQL, but I've never really played with it. I just haven't had a need to. So there's a little bit of me that would like to do this with Mongo. I don't know if that's the best thing to use, but could kind of use this as a dual learning experience. Because if this works, I've effectively got a teacher that's going to write the app, and then I'll be able to see the code and then kind of reverse engineer it in my mind how is this actually going to work? So we've got fast API. The database backend is either Postgres or Mongo. 3 front end will be either React or HTMX. Again, I don't have any experience with HTMX. I was only introduced to it about a week ago, so I don't know if that would be the best technology. We're going to let the AI decide that. So what we're going to do, just tidy this up. Description. Right, so Hobbies is a web application designed to track hobbies. I know what I want to say. I'm trying to think of the wording for it. Right, Hobbies is a web application designed to track hobbies. You will be able to create, delete, and edit hobbies from the main screen. Once a hobby is created, then we'll be able to add categories. Usage how to. So I'm going to also put in how I picture this working. Main page shows a login which will have database login and possibly access to SSO single sign-on. After logging in, there will be a main page that has a drop-down menu use the 3-line burger style. If you've been in any web application, you know you get the 3 lines like this. Some people have called it like the burger button. Use the 3-line burger style for this menu. Now remember that this is what I'm putting together here is not the README for the application. What I'm doing is putting together a decent set of instructions. So after logging in, there'll be a main page of a drop-down menu. The menu items will be new hobby settings, log out. I am thinking about this as I go along. I've got it pictured in my head what I want it to look like. This is up to me to be able to give Claude as much information to actually do this. Oh, and let's MongoDB. Let's do these as like this. If the database already has one or more hobbies already entered, then the main screen will show these down the left side of the screen as tabs. If you click on a hobby tab from the left, the main section of the screen will show the details of the hobby and items you have. When a hobby is selected, the burger menu will have these options. New category of item. Edit / delete. So the way I'd picture this is you would go into like an edit mode, and then all the records on the screen would then get a little button at the end, and you'd be able to click on it and either edit it or delete it. Now, I know I'm not being that clear at the moment. We're going to build up we're going to give it a full example of what I want this to look like, and there may be extras in there may be extras in there. So if new category or item is clicked, a pop-up window appears with just a text box and OK and cancel buttons. The user would enter a category of items for the hobby. So I think we need that edit mode for here. Right, so the main page shows a login, which is blah, 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 blah. After logging in, there'll be a main page that has a drop-down menu. Use a 3-line burger style for this menu. The menu items will be blah, blah, blah. If the database already has one or more hobbies entered, then the main screen will show these down the left side of the screen as tabs. If you click on a hobby tab from the left, from the left, then the main section of the screen will show the details of the hobby and items you have. So I think we need to go into a bit of a description here. Let's do this working example. User logs in with username and password. Has burger style menu. Main screen has burger style menu. Main screen shows 3 previously set up hobbies as tabs down the left hand side. These are slingshots, clay, and knitting. Just 3 kind of hobbies where we can start putting some stuff in. User clicks on slingshot and the right panel shows the items in the database we have for this hobby. Examples of items could be a slingshot frame, latex, or like the rubber for the bands, pouches. Yes, I do slingshots for a hobby, so just trying to think. Clay ammo, steel ammo, we'll leave it as that. We don't want to overwhelm it. Let's just do that. Within each so there will be a box surrounding all of the slingshot frames, and then a list of the frames and the details entered. Now this is what makes me lean more towards Mongo, because every item could have, it's going to list the item and the properties. So we've got a hobby, there's almost like a hierarchy here. So we're going to do slingshot. When you go into slingshot, there's going to be what we've got there, 4 categories. The category is going to be custom that you need to put in. So for me, I've put slingshot frames, latex pouches, and steel ammo. So the way I picture it, you've clicked on your tab on the left. Now you've got 4 blocks going down. So in the top one, it'll have um, slingshot frames. Then below that, it's going to list out all the frames. So it could have like, I don't know, RVA Lion's Paw, like the actual name of the frame. And then it's going to have what data I want to put against that. Like there's certain things you need to know the measurements. So like the width of it, maybe what it's made of. Is it wood or plastic or metal or like things like that. Now for the frames, there's not going to be a lot. For the latex, now there's a lot that goes into the latex, and this isn't going to turn into a slingshot tutorial. I'm just going over the differences. So you've got your slingshot frames, and the next block down would be latex. Now, under latex, I want to put in the brand. I want to put in the thickness because you measure latex by how thick it is. Usually, like in millimeters, you do 0.4 millimeters up to about 1.0 millimeters. So I'd need to know what latexes I have. So the brand, the thickness, the color. Color does make a difference. Again, not going to go into too much detail, but when they add a dye to the latex, it does affect how it reacts. So you could buy exactly the same brand, measurements and everything latex. You could get black and yellow, and they will react very differently purely because of the way the coloring is. So I'd want to know things like that. And then finally, quantity. Now, frames, I've probably got one of each. But for the latex, I want to know, well, they come in rolls of 2 meters. Now I want to know if I got 3 rolls of the yellow and 1 of the black, and like, to try and keep track. So it's like when I'm doing things for my hobby, I know what I need, and I know I can. This is the idea that I could go there and just click and go, oh no, I'm running out of yellow latex. I need to order some more. Or it could be maybe for the clay, and by clay I mean like polymer clay. You get your little square packet, and you're making little things out of it. Let's say you see something on YouTube and it's like, oh, I want to make that. And they say, oh, you need a pasta roller because with clay, you put it through a pasta to make it flat, and you'll need this cut and like a few things. You could just go to this website and, oh, do I have those? Another example, like knitting. Of course, you can have your yarn, but and I don't know a lot about knitting, but let's say like you need different size needles for different things. Well, if someone tells you, oh yeah, you need I don't know, like a 1.2 size set of needles, and you think, oh, do I have that? Well, this is the idea. You go there and it's like, oh yeah, I do have it. Or if you don't, now you've got to go out and get that. So it's trying to track all those hobbies and all the things that you need for it. So within each item, there'll be data. So there will be boxes surrounding all the slingshot frames and a list of the frames and the details entered. The details are custom. So every entry in the DB should be seen as a document style. Maybe store in JSON. In a MongoDB would be best. Right, this is why I figured this is why I figured I'm going to put together like a document, because that let's put it up here for now. User clicks on slingshot. On the right hand side, the items for the document type of slingshot will show. So this could be brand, fork width, etc. All of these are custom created for each of the item categories. Right, let's build a little hierarchy of the data. Hierarchy of data. Level 1 is the hobby name. When we go into the hobby name, there will be categories. Slingshot frame and latex. And then the third layer, 3, what should we call them? Are they subcategories? I guess subcategories, e.g. For latex would be things like thickness, color, brand, etc. I think that's right. So we have the hobby name, and then you get the categories for that hobby, and then you get the subcategories, all those items. So let's just go through hobbies, web application. I just want to make sure I'm not like calling things categories where they should be subcategories, because when we go into the plan phase, we kind of want to know like that it's not going to get all confused, because it's AI. It's going to get confused. So let's try and give it the best possible chance. Hobbies from the main screen. Once hobby is created, then you'll be able to add categories. Let's do this, like categories to the hobby. Within the categories will be subcategories that hold the data on items, quantity, etc. Right, the details are custom, so every entry in the DB should be seen as a document. So let's take that off as a document. So a hobby will have custom categories added to it. Within those categories are subcategories that will be the details of the items needed for the hobby and quantity. Details could be descriptive measurements. Quantity that you have in hand. Quantity that you have in stock. I was trying to avoid saying in stock, because if you say in stock, your brain goes to, oh, it's a like a shop thing, and that's not the idea. It's similar concept to kind of how a shop would track things, but the idea is that you can keep track of your hobbies and what items you've got. 'Cause if you're anything like me, just to jump back a bit, like I've got several hobbies, and sometimes I'll jump back and forth, and then it'll be like I'll see like maybe, oh, I want to make a little figurine of clay, and it might say, oh, you need flesh-colored clay and white and cherry red, and it's like, well, do I have cherry red? And did I run out? I can just quickly check. Right, so I think this details could be descriptive measurements, quantity that you have in stock, etc. The subcategories would be assigned to a category, but the fields and values in the subcategories should be custom. This is so we can keep things separate. As an example of what not should happen is looking in slingshots and seeing knitting needles. So usage, main page shows a login, database, after logging in, there'll be bugger style. I'm just looking for, oh, let's just do this. Let's just do category and just make sure that we're using it. So categories, slingshot, if the database already has hobby entered, blah, 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 working example. Right, all of these are custom created for each of the, see here, sub categories. Right, so let's keep going with this. Within each item, there'll be data. So, right, let's search for the word item because I want to steer away from items. Item, the menu items will be, right, so we got that. If edit delete is selected, then the screen goes into edit mode where values can be edited or deleted. When in edit mode, the menu option will flip to say save, and a cancel option will be added. No, I don't like that. If delete, then the screen goes into when in edit mode, there will be a save and a cancel, not option, but button appear at the bottom of the screen. It would be great if those could be floating so they stay on the screen whilst scrolling. A hierarchy of data, I think I'm good with that. Work an example. Right, so user logs in, main screen has burger style menu, main screen shows 3 previously set up hobbies as tabs down the left hand side. These are slingshot, clay, knitting. User clicks on slingshot and the right panel shows the, see, we don't want items there, we want categories, latex, frames, etc. Oh, we don't need that. Within each, see here, I want to get rid of item, I want to put it as category. So hopefully it keeps track of what a category is and what a subcategory is. Like, I don't want it to put latex as a category, because a category is a group of items for the hobby. Like with clay, like you may have polymer clay, you might have air dry clay, or like all kinds of different types of clays. So let's get, we've got that. Within each category, there will be data. So there'll be a box surrounding all the slingshot frames, and then a list of all the frames and the details entered inside that box. On the right hand side, the items, within each category there will be data. Get rid of so, right. There will be a box surrounding all the slingshot frames, and then a list of all the frames with their details entered, inside the box. On the right hand side, the items, the document type of slingshot will show. I've kind of already said that. All of these are custom created for each. Example hierarchy. Here is an example of the hierarchy of data separated with pipe. Right, so we're going to have slingshot. In slingshot, we'll have we won't do slingshot frames. We'll do slingshot frames. Just because frames is a thing in HTML, and I don't want it to confuse frames with actual slingshot frames. Slingshot frames. So we've got the hierarchy of data. So hobby, category, then subcategories. Right, let's just do a couple, and then it would be brand, simple shop. Name, Scout X. These are real slingshots, by the way. Simple shot, name, Scout X. Fork width, 95mm. Clips, yes. Okay, and then we're going to do slingshot. Latex, brand is Sniper Sling. Color yellow. Thickness 0.4. It's in millimeters, but I guess I could add that, but it's so when we add custom fields, we might need to, because if I was talking to someone into slingshots and I said it's 0.4, they're going to know it's 0.4 millimeters thick. So, but then, yeah, someone who doesn't know, they're going to be, well, 0.4 what? But then if you're doing this for, maybe that's something to come down the line. I was just sort of thinking, should there be an option to say what is the symbol? What is the measure? Is it millimeters? Is it dollars? Is it yards, feet? Like, I don't know. Like if you're buying yarn, maybe that comes in meters. Like so, let's just keep it fairly simple-ish now. So we've got Sniper Sling yellow, thickness 0.4. I'm going to do is just going to add a few just so that it gets an idea of that hierarchy. And we're going to have Sniper Sling black, and thickness is 0.45. And here we're going to have tritium pink, because it comes in purple or pink, but again, like that's what we've got the color for. Pink, and that I've got in a 0.45. Let's give it, what did I have in the example? Steel ammo. For that, like, I don't need the brand because they're just basically ball bearings. Like, all I really need is size, and this could be 8mm. Right, actually, I don't like having the I don't like having the millimeter in there. Reason being, I'm thinking like, oh, if you want it to like a find, maybe you want to say find if all the ammo that I've got that's over 8mm. Because like then you'd want to know that if you put 8mm, that then becomes a string. It's text. A bit more difficult to like do those such not impossible, but just makes it that bit more difficult. If it just says 8, 9, like the next one up would be 9.5. I think after that we get like, I don't know if there's a 10. We're not going on detail, but I've seen 11. I've never seen 10. Probably is, but right. So for the slingshot frames, we don't really need a quantity because you kind of got one of them. It's like, let's say you collected sports cars. You're not going to buy two Porsche 911s, or like, there's going to be specific differences. You're not going to buy two Porsche 911 Carreras that are dot on exactly the same. If you're collecting, you'd be like, oh well, this is a 1974 and this is a 1982. Like, there will be differences in there enough that you don't really need the quantity, and because it's customizable, you'd be able to add it. But here I would want quantity, and I could say 3. Let's just copy that. Right, so I've got 3 of that, I've got 1 of that. Actually, I'm going to do this properly because I think that is my actual stock at the moment. I've got 4 of the yellow, 1 of black, 3 of the pink. So for 8mm, I could have 1000. For 9.5, I've got 5,000, and the 11, I've got 50. Let's do 25. Right, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go. Right, I'm going to copy this first. And what we're going to do is get ChatGPT. We're just going to make it a bit easier. We're going to create a JSON file. Here's an example of hierarchy data separated with blah, blah, blah. Can you convert to JSON where the root would be hobby, then after that put in this hierarchy with what do we call them, with arrays when needed. Okay, and what I'm going to do, just put this to the side just for some clarification. Let's do knitting. Let's throw a few things in there. Knitting, did we put anything in? We haven't, so we do needles, and we do brand myneedles.com. size 0.5. I don't know what a size of a needle is. And the usual one, quantity 2, because you need knitting, you need a pair, so it would have to be at least 2. Let's just put in that we got one more set of needles, and this one is 0.75. And let's put in this, and we'll go with, we're going to put in 3 yarn, and then we're going to get it to do it. So the brand is Willie's Woolies. Size will be 10, like for 10 meters. I don't know. And we got one of those. Again, like this is another prime example of this. I know the very, very basics of knitting, but like if you're going to do a scarf and it says you need 7 reels, well, you could just go here instead of hunting through all your boxes and your drawers and trying to find what you got. It's like, well, okay, I should have 7 already, or I've got 10 of these, so I do have enough to start doing this scarf. Or, oh, I've only got 5. I need to go to the hobby store or whatever and go and buy 2 more reams. Is it? I think they call it a ream. But that's my waffling. Let's do 2 more yarns. Brand Willie's Woolies. So we're going to have size 10 and color yellow, color tartan, and color black. Right, let's see if, just so I'm not using up my stuff in here for the planning and all that, let's just let ChatGPT do this. I'm going to put that in there and just let it convert that into JSON. Well, look, it actually done full width millimeters. So, no, personally, I don't like that, but I suppose so. Yeah, 95 millimeters, because then it specifies. Because to me, I'd be like, oh, it would be a really cool thing to say convert, because like there are hobbies you might have where it's measured in inches in the US, but you're in the rest of the planet and you're using millimeters. So let's copy that. Let's go, boom, paste that in there. Save that. Right, and what I'm going to quickly do, just for anyone who's never been introduced to it, lazy git, I'm going to commit this. So building plan, starting to build an MD file for the plan on Claude to do its thing. Gonna push that just so I've got that where it is, because that's a pretty good, not a spot to end, but that's a good spot where I am. I think I've got a fairly good outline here. I think we take this hierarchy of data and we put it here, because it just seems to fit. That I've got this hierarchy describing it, and then with example hierarchy in JSON. Right, I think that we've got a fairly good plan here. So let's just read through it. Hobbies is a web application designed to track hobbies. Let's do this. Let's do future, Android, and iPhone apps. No, we're not going to do iPhone. We're going to do Android app open source so it can be on F-Droid. Right, so that's just a future consideration. So we're starting off, be able to create, delete, and edit hobbies from the main screen. Once hobby is created, then you'll be able to add categories to the hobby. Within the categories will be subcategories that hold the data on items. See hierarchy of data section for an example of data. The details are custom, so every entry in the DB should be seen as a document, and that leads us to the MongoDB thing rather than a relational data like a Postgres. Maybe store in JSON in a MongoDB will be best. So a hobby will have custom categories added to it. Within these categories are subcategories that will be the details of the items needed for the hobby, and quantity. Details could be descriptive measurements. Right, let's take out that quantity because we're saying quantity a bit too much. Right, details could be descriptive measurements, quantity that you have in stock, brand, name, etc. Subcategories will be assigned to a category, but the fields and values in the subcategories should be custom. This is so we can keep separate. As an example of what not should happen is looking in slingshots and seeing knitting needles. Right, main page shows login. After you've logged in, there will be a main page that has a drop-down menu. Use the 3-line burger style for this. Items will be new hobby, edit, delete, settings, and log out. Settings we'll worry about down the line. If edit delete is selected, then the screen goes into edit mode. When in edit mode, there will be a save and cancel button. You know what? Also, whilst in edit mode, the screen colors should be different. So the main screens should be based on a bee-like style with black and yellow. In edit mode, maybe change the yellow to red. I just like that idea that when you're in edit mode, it makes it very clear that you're in edit mode. If the database, let's get these lines over here. The database is already one or more hobbies entered. Then the main screen will show these down the left side. If you click on a hobby tab from the left, then the main section of the screen will show the details of the hobby and items you have. So, working example, user logs in with username, password. Main screen has burger menu. Main screen shows da 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 da. Set up hobby is read from the database. User clicks on slingshot. Within each category, there'll be data. There will be a box surrounding all the slingshot frames and a list of the frames, the details into this. So this could be brand, full width, etc. All of these are custom created for each of the subcategories. Hierarchy of data is hobby name, then categories, slingshot frame, latest, etc. Subcategories, blah, blah, blah. To me, that is clear. This is the difficulty. To me, that's clear, but I kind of know what I'm after. I don't know if AI is going to understand it. Right, when a hobby is selected, the burger menu will have these options. New category or item. Right, when a hobby is selected, then the burger menu will have these options. So it is contextual. New category. Edit, delete. If new category, clicked, then a pop-up window appears with a text box. Let's do single. The user would enter a category for the hobby. This category appears in a box just like the ones that are already on the category. At the top of each box of categories, there should be buttons for add new, which allows for adding a new subcategory. When this is clicked, a form pops up with how we're going to do this. Right, so I've got slingshots. I've gone in, I've got like latex. Right, configure. If new category is clicked, then a pop-up appears with a text box and OK and cancel buttons. You should enter a category for the hobby. This category then appears in a box just like the ones that are already. Which allows for adding a new subcategory item. Configured fields for that subcategory. Right, so let's go to this working example. So user clicks slingshot, right panel shows blah, because these have already been entered. Within each category, there will be data surrounding the slingshot, entered inside the box. So this could be brand, fork. All of these are custom created for the subcategories. At the user clicks add new button at the top of a category. In this example, let's say latex. Have been configured to have specific fields to enter. A form should pop up with those fields and have correct style entry. So dates would have data picker, numbers would have a text entry box with up and down arrows. User enters data as per the form, which read from the database. User needs to add a new subcategory of clay ammo. So clicks on. New query button. Screen at the top and gets a window pop up where they can add field names and type of entry. So in the example, they would create clay ammo as a subcategory, then a form/window pop-up allows them to create as many fields as needed by giving a name. For the field, and so it's giving a name for the field and type of data. This is what goes into the array in the final level of the hierarchy data. Right, I think we've got a good outline here to actually put in to our little planning tool. First, I'm going to hit space. I'm going to hit C, first draft of plan to be run. I'm just going to hit enter, and then I'm going to hold down shift and push P, so it pushes that. Now we've got this. I wonder if this is going to be too big. I'll tell you what, let's take that future thing out. Let's not confuse it because we've not done that yet. So technologies used, fast API, database backend, either Postgres or I think we need to go with Mongo, DB or other free JSON based. Front end will let's put it in React. As a friend of mine, when I asked a friend, a developer, if they'd heard of HTMX, and they said, because of course there's in all programming and that, as soon as something new comes around, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be the best thing ever. And he said it, I think, quite succinctly in that everyone aims for the king. So, because it's being labeled as this is going to be the React killer. Final one plan. And just checking that in. Now, I don't know if... Oh, look, we can... Oh, look at that. So if I float here, let's pin that. So there, that's pointing to the plan MD. Build the app outlined in plan.md. Add notes to a separate file that can be referred to as the full plan for future agentic. Look, let's see how it handles that. All right, let me start by researching the current workspace state and understanding the requirements comprehensively. See, to me, I'm thinking like, and I might have to stop this or just let it run, and then all I'll do is just check it into GitHub and sort of do it in another video, because sometimes this can take a long time to run. I've heard like 15, 20, 30 minutes for it to do stuff, and I'm effectively asking it to do everything from scratch. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll either go live again later tonight or tomorrow, but I'm just going to leave this to do its thing. So if you did want to look me up on GitHub, you can go to GitHub/Paul Webber. That's PaulWebber. And it will be in there. Like, it's a public thing, so you can see as it happens. But I'm going to leave this video here for now, and